Hi, this is Tutor P, and this is lesson 415. The title of today's lesson is The Difference Between Timber and Lumber. Yeah, I've been asked this question a couple of times in the past, and this one is actually a little difficult even for a native speaker to be able to distinguish. So this took a little research to check and make sure that this was correct. So anyway, let's look at some notes or some ways that you can distinguish between how you should use one or the other. All right, now especially in American English, we start with the first part. Timber is a tree that has been cut down but has not been processed into lumber. So when they first cut down the tree and they're putting it on the truck and they're transporting it, to the lumber yard, to the place where it's going to be processed, it is still timber, or however they do it. I've seen in the past, sometimes they'll put it on a river or whatever and sail it down. However they do it, that's still in the timber form. So we usually consider if the bark is like the outside skin of the tree. If the bark is still on the tree, it is timber. Lumber has had the bark removed. Okay, that's a good point. What could make things a little confusing, though, is in the US and Canada, lumber is used to refer to the cut wooden boards, like 2x4s, 4x8s. However, in Australia and the UK, the timber is used for the same thing. So I think in the UK and Australia, you could use either timber or lumber for this. But in the US, we would not use the word timber for this. So this is why it can get a little confusing. Even if you have different teachers, they might give you slightly different explanations, even if they understand it themselves. So let's continue. In regard to commercial business, like when it's sold, business transactions, the word lumber is most commonly used. Like we didn't say somebody bought timber like to build a house. We would usually say they bought lumber to build a house. Okay, good. All right, and just some other things to know. A lumberjack is a person who has the job of cutting down the trees. Okay. A lumber yard is a business that sells the wood products where they are stocked and sold. So basically, again, the timber is brought to the lumber yard. They take the bark off and they cut it into, nice even pieces, 2x4s, 4x8, or whatever it is that, the board that's needed for building. So they do that at the lumber yard. Okay, good. All right, now also another strange thing though is the word timber is used as a warning that is yelled out to make sure people are aware that a tree is about to fall. So have you ever seen some movies too? They're cutting it down, and as the tree is about to fall, you usually hear somebody yell, "Timber!" Like get out of the way, the tree is about to fall, because I guess trees unfortunately have fallen on people and injured and killed them before. So this is another way timber is used. Timber is used as the warning that the tree is about to fall. Okay, and just to try to clarify it more, give you a couple of the example sentences. The timber was loaded onto a flatbed truck and brought to a lumber yard. So they cut it, in the wild or in the woods, and they put it on the truck and they brought it to the lumber yard to be processed. Okay, and here somebody might say, I bought some lumber from a lumber yard in order to build a shed. Okay, anyway, I hope this clarifies it for you. I hope it was informative. Thank you for your time. Bye-bye.